are good. I'm definitely getting a good amount of sleep. I think my downfall is I'm still using my phone before bed sometimes because Love Island is on. So,
Is it
you
now?
know, it's my awake window is shorter now, so I'm trying to cram everything in.
Sounds like you're going really well though. Coming to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. Um, alcohol and caffeine reduction in process, getting more sleep. So the phone things work on, but overall going in the right direction. You're feeling
Yeah,
better than you did in December.
I feel great. Like I feel much more energized and I feel much better in my body as well. Like I just feel, I don't know, like newer. It's sort of,
Mm.
I felt very sort of old and ugh before.
Okay. Yeah. It sound what was coming through in your tone as well is just like a sense of pride of that you're proud of yourself, and that's really, really key to all this. It's kind of celebrating yourself and your journey and where you're going will really help you maintain these habits. So like do
Yeah,
self-celebration every day, or even if it's just a small thing, even if you had a blip, just say, oh well, I still went to the gym today, even though I had a blip somewhere else. Like keep
yeah,
self-celebrating, and the data and science around this is that people who self-celebrate tend to go on a better run, and if you self-depreciate, you tend to grind to a halt in your journey. So that thing of 3 wins, 1 work on in the evening is quite good. It doesn't mean you don't say something that you're working on, but like just kind of keeping on that sense of pride in what you're doing is important, and just celebrating the small wins as well as the big ones. Right, that's great. By the way, just if you feel like you haven't been doing as well as Heather, for example, please don't worry. Maybe it's your time to say that, but make sure you appreciate the journey, the things you've been doing well as well. So Emily, you're next on my screen. That's okay. Little review.
A little review. Oh no. I'm sorry,
Like what's
Heather. It's going
going
to be a big
well in the last
contrast to yours.
28 days? What's shifted positively for you, if anything?
Uh, I'm much better at press ups. Can I say that?
Indeed.
Let's celebrate the small wins, eh? Lewis has
Absolutely.
been massively helping me with, and I even managed some chin ups with a
Really?
band. Yeah,
Nice.
chin ups as well. I definitely want to get involved in the strength training because I realise now how important it is. That's it. Really, everything else has not been going so well. I have to be honest. But let's celebrate strength training because that's
excellent. Great. Yeah, so you want to work on your sort of sleep and nutrition, I'm guessing. Okay, cool. Well, let's celebrate that win. That's fantastic. Michelle, what's going well?
What's going well? Sorry, mine going to sound like a man at the moment. I'm full of a cold and cough, so apologies for the voice. What's going well is no alcohol. I've stuck with that, and no caffeine after 12 noon. Eating well. I mean, that in turns drinking lots of water. Well, I do that anyway. Going to the gym had been brilliant until I just literally got struck down with this. It's not COVID. I keep testing. But yeah, I haven't had a cold or anything in years, really. So that's kind of knocked me back a bit because I can't go to the gym at the moment. But it's fine. I'm not giving up on it. I'm just focusing on the positives. Like I keep doing the wins. That's brilliant, actually. The journaling, I find that really helps me because, especially the last couple of days, I haven't been at the gym, and I'm still making me think, well, what are the wins today? And it might not necessarily be to do with obviously working out, but it's the other stuff, like even my own personal stuff, like my life. So yeah, that keeps me thinking, well, what's good about today? I have to really think sometimes, but it's really good because then, yeah, it helps to have a more positive mindset. And so going forward, definitely, with as far as the alcohol is concerned, I know that habit of just drinking for the sake of it in the evening to numb how I'm feeling maybe about the stresses that are going on, that's not the way to going forward. So that's definitely not that I'm giving up alcohol forever, but I just won't be doing it at home on a habitual thing for sure.
That's brilliant. Thanks for sharing, Michelle, and I hope you feel better soon. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Gary, how's it going?
Apologies, I might have heard some domestics going on in the background.
Worries.
got an engineer coming to fix our tap. The biggest thing for me is not drinking beer, and actually, I went back to last week's conversation where we had the pause between the thought and the action. And I thought, you know what, I've done really well. I'm going to go down the pub and have a quick drink, and I took that pause and then didn't go. So that was so I've still not drunk any beer for 28 days. Sleep's going well, actually, surprisingly. And caffeine, I've knocked it on the head almost totally now. So every now and again I have a coffee, but again before 9 o'clock, then nothing after that. So and getting to the gym regularly. So Lewis is happy with that because I'm seeing him regularly down the gym as well. So yeah, it's going well.
That's well done, Gary. That's freaking awesome.
I did actually have a look. Having said I'm only going to do the 3 mornings a week, I did actually have a look at some of the other classes as well, and I think I've spotted a couple of classes that I might be able to do. So I'm just I'm gonna find my boxing gloves and my boxing pads and maybe join the boxing fitness club that class that's going on.
Nice, yeah,
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Okay. Excellent, good stuff, Gary. And I just popped into my mind now. Has anyone done like a re-body scan? Like, you popped on there again? Anyone? Not yet.
Not yet.
Anyone planning to?
Next week.
Okay. Yeah, just book in a 1-to-1 on Team Up, and if you really can't find one, give me a shout. Okay. Excellent. Good report. Good direction. Next on my screen is poor Leslie. I'm so sorry to hear what happened to you. Broken elbow. Wasn't at the gym. Not my fault. But how's everything else going?
On the way to the gym, Luke.
On the way to the gym. Oh, shit.
Trying to get out of the house and falling down the steps. My nutrition is great because I'm really concentrating on bone repair and little alcohol. Obviously, my movement isn't quite up to speed. So I'm not getting many METs, but I'll have to try and get my MET belt on and see if Richard can help me out with that. Get on the exercise.
Sounds a bit dodgy. Sorry. Okay, but do you feel like apart from that, you made some other good shifts?
Yeah, I've read that alcohol is not good for bone repair, so I've cut down massively. I think I've had 2 glasses of wine in the last fortnight. So yeah, all good. It'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Okay.
Sling off and start coming back to the gym. I don't think it'll do my press ups much good though for a while.
No, the only thing it will do is remotivate you to another level of getting them back to where you were before. Right. I've been injured, really badly before, and just like that journey of getting back to where I was actually even more rewarding than any other progression journey that I've ever done. Yeah. Actually, so well, we send our condolences and really looking forward to having you back. Well,
I know I won't complain about getting up early for the gym anymore because I'll be looking forward to going back to it.
Fair enough. Good stuff. Okay, next is Caroline. How are you going?
Yeah, good. I think the best thing for me has been the sleep, actually. Knocked caffeine on the head after lunch, apart from the odd one, and that's really helped a lot. And then the kind of catch-22 of that is that everything else the next day seems so much better. So that's good. I don't know if you see behind me, my kids help me. I've got a little chart every day I don't drink. They colour in a box. And
wow.
So I don't know about it, we called it dry. I don't know if it's dry Jan, but it was slightly moist January. But it's the opposite of what it would normally be. Rather than there being about 5 days where I don't drink, there've been only 5 days in January where I did drink. And a lot less, and I'm sure again that has a knock-on positive effect with the sleep. So there's the and drinking water. So basically exchanging after lunch what I would normally just sit there as habit, drinking coffee, just because I'm sat at my desk, and in between each bit of work I'd go and make a cup of coffee because that was kind of the routine. Now just getting another bottle of water and just sort of sipping on the water.
Yeah.
And again, then how good that makes me feel. I mean, some of my friends.
I'm just going to stop you there for a second, Caroline, because I think this is really helpful for everyone. It's something Gary mentioned as well. One of the things we're going to touch on a bit later in the session is mindset. But if I could give you like the most where it all comes down to this is just being present with, like, not reacting habitually, but reacting intentionally, i.e. that thing of stopping, pausing, thinking, do I really want this, or is this just a habit? And the more present you are, the more you can do that, the more you make the choices toward the person you want to be. Like, that's mindset 101 for me. Slow down, think, am I doing this because there's social pressure? Am I doing this because I am giving into a craving that might go if I just wait a little bit? Am I doing this because I really want to? Is, just questioning yourself is the most important thing, I would say, mindset wise. And the same with like thinking, am I going to go out for a walk, or am I going to go to the gym? And it's like, I don't feel like it, but I know when I get back, I'm going to be better. I'm going to feel better. And it's just like almost using your previous knowledge. So it's all about those moment to moment decisions. Probably the most important element of mindset in your whole life, as well as just health. So that's brilliant, Caroline. Anything else?
Yeah, been doing PT with Steph. That's been really, really great, and inspiring. And what else did I do? Oh, and recently started doing the food diary again. I kind of knew from the beginning I needed to do that because it just makes you so accountable. And I suppose in my mind, I kind of thought my eating was better than it was. And I just thought for me, it was too much carbohydrate. You know, the old bowl of cereal and then sandwich at lunch and bowl of pasta at tea. But actually putting it into MyFitnessPal, it really helps. And then for me, makes me much more mindful about, right, I'm going to intentionally eat something much higher in protein at breakfast rather than just go for the bowl of cereal because I feel I need to take on board some fuel before I rush out the door. So it really helped. Like, it's almost like Control-Alt-Deleting and just resetting everything and restarting some habits that I did have with the 6-week challenge all the way back in 2019, but have just fallen by the wayside in the interim. So,
and this is the key point, is like, how can we continue the good habits that we've adopted longer term? This is like where we all fall down, right? Because the 28-day challenge, you're going to come and have a chat with me every week. A lot of you are doing personal training. A lot of, you got this 28-day mindset. It's like, how can you continue that? Like, we say forever, but like just long term, let's just say, without those things in place? Or do we always need those things in place? That's a question we're going to answer, but I'm going to ask you in a moment. But we'll just go to Mel. Give us your little rundown.
My little rundown. What's going well? So sleep has been, in all honesty, has been better since I started taking HRT about a year ago. So that was not, but I am quite conscious of going to bed at 10, especially if I need to get up at 6 to come to class. So that's good. My caffeine is better. I'm very conscious of trying not to have any, not more than 2 cups of coffee in the morning. Otherwise, I sit at my desk and I'm in meetings and I've drunk like 4, and it's like, oh my God. One of the biggest things that probably me is actually sugar. I think I probably didn't realize until you focus that, that especially when it's cold and it's wintry, and a cup of tea and a biscuit in the afternoon is one of those things that I don't really need. And I think it was Gary said that just the stop and the pause and actually think, I don't, because cup of tea, then I want a biscuit, and then I thought one biscuit is actually 2, and it's probably shortbread, which is full of butter and sugar, and then so I've reined that in, so that's practically non-existent now. And also I think in the evenings when I sit down, I don't know, just knackered working kids, my hand goes in the box of Heroes, and all of a sudden I've inhaled 6 Heroes. They're only tiny, so you think they're nothing of them, but actually if you add it up, that's like 200 calories while I'm just sat there watching TV. So I haven't been perfect on that, but I have reined it in a lot. So, and I'm actually feeling my stomach feels better for not eating chocolate in the evening.
Okay. Awesome. Sounds like some really good progress there, Mel. And with the heroes thing, it's like it's very well documented that people, when we're tired in the evening, we make worse nutrition choices just because we're too tired and we can't be asked to make any other decision. We don't really care anymore. It's the end of the day. And so like the only thing I'd advise around that is just to have them out of sight, out of mind. You know, if they're there, you're probably just don't trust yourself. Like,
I don't trust myself.
Energetic, higher reflective self, like right now, we can see that our more tired, more reactive self, we need to help that guy out, that girl out. Don't have them in the room. I'm just going to eat them. I know I would. And so, like, just try to make decisions for your evening self by your morning self. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that
my morning self is a much nicer person than I am in the evening. Evening is like.
It's funny. You almost like it's almost like you want to respond in the day, and then in the evening, you're going to react. So you have to like create environments and structures in the evening that are going to be okay for your reactive self. Like, for example, like my rule is, I've got to be in bed by 10. That's just the rule. And if I didn't have that as a kind of rule, if I was just reacting, I'd press play on the next Netflix series. I know I would. But my higher morning self has decided that that's a rule.
Yeah.
No matter what's going on, even if I'm halfway through an episode and Kim's like, "Oh, can't we finish the episode?" I'm like, "Well, you can, but I'm not." And I think that I know that my reactive self's not going to make choices toward the person I want to be. Don't trust yourself in the evenings. That's what I would suggest. Okay, so so this session was supposed to be, we kind of missed, we did 2 sessions on, what's it called? Nutrition. So we didn't really do movement, but today's going to be a bit of movement, a bit of mindset, I think. Just got chat from Caroline saying, what's the name of the body scan gizmo so I can download my results? It's called InBody. Yeah, so you download the app and your results, put your phone number in there. Did you do it on the machine at the beginning, Caroline? Yeah. So just download the app and it will automatically sync your results, and then every time you use it, it will sync and it will create a graph for you and stuff. It's good.
I see. I put my phone number in, and for some reason I thought it was going to send me a link to something, and then I was like, I don't know what to do now. So okay, great.
You just download the app and it should be cool. All right. Cool. So my first question, and you could use the chat for this or unmute, is like, how are you going to keep up some of the good habits that you started? Whether that be other people helping you, or whether that be whatever it might be. I'm not going to tell you the answers because I want to hear what you think first of all. So pop a few things in the chat about what's going to help you maintain your good habits. So just pop some things in the chat, or you can unmute if you like, and then we'll discuss them and I'll give you my 2 pence on it as well. Just give you a minute to do that. As this is the practical use of mindset, is consistency, essentially. The result of it is consistency that we want. Okay, so target into bite-sized challenges, says Gary. So that's sort of like, maybe if you continue to work with Lewis, it's like getting him to set you small goals that have time periods continually, yeah?
I'll probably do a rolling 28-day challenge just to do something different and change it up, so it's not the same every 28 days, but just different classes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, and you can just help your PT. If you continue with him, you can just like use him for accountability, or you can use me if you want that accountability, and just say, Luke, I'm going to do this for the next 28 days kind of thing, or with your trainer. It's probably better if you continue with him. And then similarly, Michelle says every 4 weeks going to have an InBody scan. It's kind of like continue to be accountable, and you know that your habits are going to like contribute towards those results going in the right direction, right? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Okay, cool. Mel says going to continue to use a habit tracker. These are all really good things to help ourselves. Remind myself how good I feel now by perhaps writing myself something to read when I feel like falling. Yeah, that's a good idea. So maybe like write something on your fridge or on your phone or on your kind of like something you're going to frequently see. So remember, Heather, when you do XYZ, you feel fantastic. When you do ABC, you don't feel so good. Remember that before you make this choice, that sort of thing. Is that what you mean? Yeah. That's a great one. We need to remind ourselves, honestly, guys, we will forget. You need to relight your fire of motivation daily or multiple times a day. Do not think just because you've done this, you're going to be like motivated. You won't be. I relight my fire every single day for anything I want to do. And I know that's the only way I'm going to do anything. And even then the fire will run out by the evening, you know, or even in the day, but most of the day it's pretty good. Okay, share with my girls, friends that I'm committed to no PM caffeine and drinking water to have external account. Oh yeah, so Caroline's, that's a really good one. Just make things public. Even if it's like to someone like a trainer or to your family or to a friend, just say, I'm going to do this. Just saying it to yourself sometimes, although that's, I believe, the highest form of accountability is to yourself. And I think that's something we should all move towards so that actually you don't even care if anyone else knows. At the moment, if it's an area of your life that you really struggle with, publicly being accountable is going to enhance that personal accountability for sure. It's going to make it more potent, more likely to succeed. Leslie Howe says she's going to sign up for PT when she's back. Excellent. I said to you this before. I believe the best way to use Unity is to have, I know it's money and that's your choice, but is to have group and PT on the side, because you're going to have, even if it's just once a month or something, you're going to have that continual relationship where you're really speaking to someone, not just the actual training, but speaking to someone about what's going on. You're going to be much more likely to keep going in the right direction. Emily says, speak to my mind manager, try quitting. Try quitting. I don't quite understand what that means. My job seems to be taking over my life.
Quiet quitting. It's a thing where you just basically do what you absolutely have to and don't do anymore.
Right. So you're saying that your job really impacts your ability to have the health habits that you want, right?
I didn't realize how much it was impacting my sleep until I did this 28-day challenge. I thought my sleep was fine. My sleep is definitely not fine.
Right. And is that kind of like through mental chatter at night, or because you're still working, or what?
Yeah, because I'm still working like late into the night, and then I go to the gym at 6 in the morning, and yeah, I'm not I realize now why I'm so horrible in the evenings. It's because, yeah, I'm exhausted. It's standard, isn't it? It's not rocket science.
Do you have to go to gym at 6 in the morning just to sort of lightly challenge that?
Yes, I do.
You can't go in any other time.
I can fit it in, and well, maybe if I wasn't so knackered after my days, I'd have the energy to go to the gym in the evening, but I've tried booking evening gym sessions, and yeah, I just, for whatever reason, being a single mum is a very key reason why I could leave my children in the house on their own for an hour at 6 a.m, but I can't do that in the evening.
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't like
kill each other, probably. I'm sure they wouldn't kill each other, but you know what I mean.
That's fine. So Emily needs to quietly quit her job. Good luck with that. Don't blame me, but I do think that employers should consider the well-being of their employees way more than they do. Like, it's only going to benefit them, because then you're more likely to stay long term, you're less likely to get sick, and they don't do it. They're just like, it's not a long-term strategy, I don't think. Anyway, right, I'm going to go on to a little presentation now. So we're just going to kind of, oh, hang on, just 1 moment. So yeah, everything that you said is like about helping yourself be consistent long term. It's saying, if I don't bring any external accountability, or if I don't change this, or if I'm going to fall back into the habits I was before. So change equals change, right? So you have to change something to change something else. And so everything that's working for you now, I'd invite you to just continue doing. With regards to like these sessions, it's something I'm thinking about bringing into Unity, is like a weekly kind of just a chat about how things are going every week. I haven't really organized it yet though, but watch this space, it might be helpful to you. Okay, so we're going to do a little presentation. Okay, cool. You just give me a thumbs up if you can see that. It says 28-day session 3. Okay, cool. So the first thing I wanted to bring was like a bit more of a kind of overview of things. So this is the way I see it. It doesn't mean you have to see it, but in my experience of working with hundreds of people, Like, these are the focuses for what we might call good energy. So sleep's the bottom one. If you don't sleep well, it doesn't matter how well you exercise and your nutrition, you're still going to feel like crap. So like, that's a real focus. And like we said, nutrition and exercise are like kind of connected to this, especially things like alcohol and caffeine. So it's all sort of connected. So we get sleep prioritized first. And whether that means you have to think about things around your job, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it might be a consideration. And I really feel very sorry for people who do night shifts, because that's really hard, because our body's not really supposed to be awake in the dark like that all night. Anyway, and then breathing, something we haven't really like touched upon. Maybe we'll do it in a future session, but the way you breathe is actually quite important. And I don't know if does anyone do any breathwork exercises like in the morning or anything like that? So Emily's nodding. What do you do, Emily, for that?
I thought that this was a musician thing, but I think it's I've been having meditation classes as well, and yeah, it seems to be a bit of a thing there. So doing the square breathing thing of imagining a square and breathing in for one of the sides and then out for one of the sides, and just to even and like regulate your breath. I find that I'm someone who quite a lot of the time gets a lot of like tension in their jaw, and just then that spreads to all the rest of my body. And if I can just sit and regulate my breathing for a couple of minutes, I find it really helpful.
Got it. Another way of doing that is called box breathing, where you go in for, depending on your lung capacity, 3, 4, or 5 seconds. So you go in, and then you hold, and then you go out, and then you hold. So it's so I did about 4 seconds on each there. That is a really simple, really effective practice that you can, I mean, that's how I start every day. So I do like 4 minutes or 5 minutes of that, because it sort of sets the tone for my nervous system. But if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, just put the time on 4 minutes and do that. That can really change your state. So breathing is a good state changer. And if we're feeling very reactive, very anxious, very whatever, stressed, like, we're going to be much less likely to sleep worse, much more likely to have poor nutrition, much likely to not go out for that walk or that gym session. And breathing can be a real key. If you kind of, I know it might be weird if you at the office and you just be like, hey, hang on, I'm just going to go and do my box breathing. But, you know, I think that should be like more in businesses acceptable anyway. But so this is going to give us good energy. And when we have good energy and our body, and we're being kind to our body, and we're being progressive, that's where it starts to change. You know, we get those fat loss results that a lot of us want. But it's also coming from a place of good energy. It's not just, you know, about the scale. And you think, okay, well, how can I get this pyramid sorted? This is where it comes back to our mind and our values. What do we really value? Do we really value our health and fitness? And if that's true, do we prioritize it? Or do we just say that our health and fitness is like our number 2 priority after our family? But do we actually then do that? Or do our actions speak differently to what we're saying? How can we be in integrity with ourselves to make our actions and our priorities actually represent our true values? And I challenge people on this a lot more than I used to, like people when they're talking about money, for example, that come to the gym, you know, we're an expensive gym, and they'll say, well, I don't want to spend that money on that. And I say, well, what are your values? Is health and fitness one of your highest values? Oh, yeah. But they're going to be much more likely to spend money on getting a better car, and there's no judgment there, that's fine, or getting a better TV. But what I would say is, are your values matching what you say they are? Or do you really value a better car than a better body or a healthier body? And that's fine. But be honest with yourself, be integrity with yourself, question yourself. And then things can start to shift and your focuses can start to become more on this stuff. So the adherence to nutrition, exercise, sleep is kind of coming from your values. And this is what we might call mindset. And the thing about mindset is like what I said about earlier, is we've got to continually question ourselves all the time about our values, prioritizing them, and then we're going to get consistent. So we're going to look a little bit about like movement. So when we say like movement, we don't just mean coming to the gym, but we mean like activity in the day. So standing rather than sitting, parking far away from the shop and walking, going for a walk, as well as just like gym sessions. And what I'd like you to consider, and you might want to write this down, is like what kind of movement or exercise regime is that future higher version or radiant version of yourself actually doing? So I'll just give you a minute to consider that. What does their week look like? What does their day look like? Are they doing, you know, yoga to the sunrise or dancing, or are they just kind of having a coffee and going to work, which is fine, but what's the best version of you doing? Are you taking a lunch break from work and taking a walk in the sun and listening to some music or an audiobook or something that makes you happy, like just listening to the birds, and then doing a strength session in the evening? Or maybe you look across a week. And what is the future version of you? And you can share this in the chat now, because Gary's just said he's doing more dog walking. What are they doing that you're not quite doing right now? Daily dog walk mid-afternoon when I feel a slump coming on, even if it's just 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes movement, your body. The compound effect of that is huge over a 365-day period. Massive. Leslie says gardening when it's warmer, 2 strength, 2 fitness per week. So going 4 times a week. Awesome. So you just, and these things are all within your grasp. You just have to change things to change things. You know, you just have to like say, what am I going to have to shift to shift this? Anyone else got anything? You can unmute if you want. Talk about that version of yourself. What are they doing in like with regards to movement and exercise? Walking the dog no matter what the weather is doing or how busy my day is. Okay, so Michelle, just going out whatever the weather. Set challenge and targets aim for. Caroline, you mean like strength challenges, or you mean like frequency of training challenges, or what do you mean, Caroline? Half marathon. Okay, cool. So you're kind of always continually like working towards a physical goal or challenge. That's something that you want to be involved in your life. Yeah, that's cool. That's something I have. Has always got something I'm working towards. Always got a purpose to the exercise. So the movement can be, in my mind, its purpose is well-being, and like the exercise for me, I like having a goal around that. Like, so at the moment I'm training for something called High Rocks. Fitness session 3 times a week, walking from work every day, 80 minutes in total. Wow. Are you doing that at the moment, Emily, or is that something the future version of you wants to do?
I am doing that at the moment, but that's just normal.
No, that's awesome. Do you like that?
That's standard. I do when I haven't lost my headphones. At the moment, I've lost my headphones, and hence wearing these disgusting ones. And I've not enjoyed it at all, not having a podcast or something to listen to. I mean, it's good to be mindful and all that and enjoying your surroundings and the rest of it, but it's not really me.
Okay, you probably like walking through a city as well, rather than the woods or the sea, or
starting off in the woods and then to the city. So yeah, it's not ideal.
Okay, well, I hope you find your headphones. All right, cool. So what we're doing is we're trying to imagine that version ourselves, and then just like moment to moment, how can we like step into that day to day? How can we step into that radiant version of ourselves? And thus we become it. Yeah, so exercise, sometimes called the wonder drug. Like if you were to list all the benefits of exercise and like not say what the drug was, you'd be like, Jesus, give me some of that. And this is all science-backed data, you know? So lowers the chance of disease, boosts your mood, happiness levels, body composition, increases life expectancy, can create like one of the studies they've done into happiness, one of the big things about the blue zones, the people who live the longest, is that they're part of strong communities. They're like, and like less than a lot of people in the modern world, like communities, especially in the Western world, they're a little bit less strong. And that's like partly why I created, we called our previous evolution of Unity was community gym. And Unity is kind of like got some semblance of that word as well. It's the end of that word. And it's like, because we want it to be a community. We want to be able to share with each other our struggles, our wins. And, you know, exercise is a great way to bond us. So stay part of our community. And so why, you know, who wouldn't want to take this drug? Like it's stronger than any pill, but it's available all the time. And, you know, but with it, you've got to kind of find out what works for you as well. Like I'm a huge believer in doing what you actually enjoy. Like, so some people are saying, well, what should I do, strength or fitness? And my first question would be, well, which one do you enjoy more? And then if they say, well, I enjoy fitness more. Oh, that's cool. Then we might talk about body composition goals and how strength can help that. And then they might bring the strength in, and then they actually start to enjoy it as well because they set goals and they feel themselves getting stronger. But don't do something if you hate it though. Like I think a lot of people see exercise as a chore. And I know that you guys are not really seeing it so much like that, hopefully, as being part of our community. But people say to me, oh, you're so good exercising all the time. And I'm like, no, I love it. It's not a chore for me. I love every minute of it, like, and how it makes me feel. And I would invite you to kind of consider that, stepping in towards that mindset of like, you're really actually enjoying it. And I know it can be hard work sometimes, but you know, you just think, I'm going to feel really good as a macro effect of this. And if you really don't enjoy something, don't force yourself to do it. Find doing different things as well, like going dancing, or maybe that's not for everybody, but trying a martial art or like that kind of thing is, I invite you to just go try these things. They can make you feel amazing. Again, there's great communities as well. Strength versus fitness, I touched on that just now, but you know, like they're both really important physiologically. And it's like strength sometimes something that people don't tend to enjoy so much, or some people do, but some people not when they first come to us, but they kind of get into it because it's like, if you want to, it's a longer term development. Fitness, you kind of get this like almost quick gratification with it. You feel pretty like good really quickly, whereas at the end of a strength session you're not feeling those same endorphins necessarily. But if you long term look at your strength development, that can be like a great way to build confidence as well. Like I think Emily was saying, like she's really proud of herself being able to like maybe better press ups and do the pull-ups, and there's kind of like an internal mental confidence that you get to that. And then from a kind of skeletal health perspective, it strengthens bones. It's you know, very good for body composition change as well, because you increase your metabolism the more you develop your lean muscle mass. Whether you lose weight or not, like that's another question, but you will lose body fat in the future if you strength train because you're building lean muscle mass. But yeah, if you absolutely hate it, don't do it, but do some form of it, whether it be like body weight stuff at home or whatever, really something you enjoy a little bit more than what we do. But Michelle says, I never find exercising a chore. I love the feeling after class at Unity. It's the other stuff I know that needs my attention. Yeah. So here's my rule. The stuff you find hardest is exactly what we need to do. Where you're most uncomfortable is where you need to lean into. You find like the nutrition bit the hardest, that's what you need to do. And I think you probably know that, but like ultimately something that's really hard, like in the future, if you keep banging away at it, it does become easier and it becomes more enjoyable as well. It's just hard because the body and the mind don't like change. We don't like change, do we? But and it resists it. The brain likes to keep us sane and safe, likes to keep us the same, but we have to resist that. And stepping into growth is change. Stepping into growth is moving through the difficult doors, through the fear doors. Stepping out on the other side of that is your personal growth. So it's like, oh, what do I find hard? That's the door I need to go through. And it becomes easy. This is hard at first. Just for mobility. So how important is mobility? There's a really interesting study that you might have heard me bang on about in the past, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So they took a load of people in their sort of like 50s, 60s, 70s, and they kind of tracked them with one movement over like a 20-year period. And the movement was, how well can they get off the floor? How well can they lie down and get back up again? That was it. And, you know, what better test of functional fitness could you have? Because it's the most kind of the biggest human movement, other than maybe like jumping, is to get down on the floor and get back up again. And it's very related to your mobility. And anyone know what they found about what correlation they found with people who could do it better than others? Anyone like to guess?
I'm imagining that there's a lot of cultures, certainly ones that I've experienced, where people are squatting daily, whether it's to go to the toilet, whether it's to wash themselves, whether it's to sit and eat their food, where they spend a very long time in that position. So I'm imagining that if it was a cross-cultural study, that they would have found a correlation between people from cultures that do a lot of squatting and those that don't.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you are right that the cultures that like you say, have a lot more squatting, have much a better ability to get down on the floor and get back up, because squat mobility is very related to that. But they actually just did the study in the UK, so that wasn't a feature of the study. And I think because Leslie's right, it's longevity. They found that the greater the mobility, the greater the ability to get up on the floor and back, the longer you live. And it was unequivocal result. Based on, they tried to keep the studies in the same socio-economic sector as well, because obviously socio-economic factors related to longevity, aren't they? And, you know, obviously if you went to another study where there's not as good healthcare and that kind of thing, that's going to really screw the results. But what they found was that your mobility is related to your your longevity, basically. And they think it's related to the amount of falls that people have, like around stiffening up of hips and things like this. And so I'm not going to get too much into a debate about the science around it, but basically what we know is that like keeping yourself mobile is really important for your long-term health and longevity. Keeping yourself so that you can move well on and off the floor is a really important thing. It's something we should probably do more of at the gym. Now, I'm sure that Emily might have some things to say about the validity of the science there, because she's a scientist, I know, in some respects, or a psychologist, is that right? Yeah. But what we know is that, like, you know, stretching is probably the wrong word, but mobility is really important. So if you've never done any of Marlon's yoga classes, I recommend them, although that's not just about mobility, that's about like a lot more than that. But yeah, there's just a few little things about movement that I wanted to touch on today. And it's 1 o'clock, so we are already out of time, but I really hope that you've found just coming together on these calls helpful over the last 4 weeks. And I really hope now that you can continue some of the habits you've made. As I say, we might continue these in some form, but I haven't figured out how or organise that yet. And yeah, I just hope that you can continue some of it, and hope you learned something from these calls as well. Is there any sort of questions that you guys have come up from today, or any other days that you want to bring to me right now before we finish? Yeah, Emily.
Hello. So the body scan, first one, was really, really interesting, but I don't really have a clue what any of it means. Is it possible to book a one-to-one to kind of learn that stuff for?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at your app, it will kind of like give you explanations and stuff like that. Look at it a bit more deeply. But yeah, absolutely. And also, whoever you do the scan with, the second scan, just ask them the question. They'll probably be able to answer it. And if they can't answer it, so if you just ask a specific question, or just send me a screenshot of a bit you don't understand and send it to me, and I'll just explain it. Or when you do the body scan itself, just ask the person that is that all right?
Awesome, thank you. I just think I revealed myself not to be a scientist there.
Yes. And Heather.
Hi, just wondering if there was an easy way on the TeamUp app to see how many of your 14 sessions that you've got left when it goes to the rolling. Because
no, unfortunately not. It's really annoying. The app, I've told the company they need to sort that out. You can do it if you go onto your profile on the website version of TeamUp. You can have a look.
Website, okay.
Yeah, but also if you just if you want to know, just shoot me a message and I can check quickly as well.
Okay, thank you.
And then we do have an unlimited option if you feel like you need more sessions.
Yeah.
So shoot me a message about that as well. Guys, I've got another call starting, so I'm going to have to go. I hope that you've enjoyed this and you're on your way. Take care. Speak soon. Bye.